Hey girl! Welcome back to the Bliss Code podcast, your weekly dose of self-mastery. I'm your host, Jamie Drew, founder of the Bliss Code, the 8-step formula to help you elevate to your next level. Join me as I explore the unboring side of personal development. We'll talk about everything from mindset hacks to manifestation and, of course, main character energy. So girl, are you coming or what? Hey girl, so recently I was on the podcast of a friend. It's called Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, and I enjoyed myself. I had a really good time, but you know what? Not only was it good because I had a good time, chatting with friends that are fellow podcast hosts, our fellow entrepreneurs, but it was great to hear the questions that were asked because it's like, and you understand this if you do social media, if you're a business owner, even if you don't do social media, just being a business owner and knowing what people's questions are for you is the greatest thing. So side note, ask your girl some questions, okay? Wherever you follow me, go ahead and ask me a question. Matter of fact, send me a question to support@theblisscode.net because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what it is that you are interested in. I know what I'm interested in. Personal development, of course. Mindset mastery, manifestation, and girl, we're going to be the main characters of our life. So all of that stuff I love. And it was really good to see what other people from outside of me are thinking about and wanting to know. So we are going to dive into this episode. And I want you to take a listen into our conversation and just see what resonates with you. And then come back and let me know what questions you have, what feedback you have. But you already know we're working with the Bliss Code formula, right? So part of the formula is curating your network. And if you don't understand what I mean by curate, I mean you select. You pick your crew. You pick your tribe, not just what was handed to you by being at work or what was handed to you by your neighborhood. Get out there and befriend and socialize with and network with like-minded souls, baby. Hello, get out there and choose your friends. Choose your, how they say birds of a feather flock together? Choose your birds, okay? Choose your flock. Who do you want to be in community with? And who does it make sense for you to be in community with? This makes so much sense for your life. I can explain, but it's so deep. It's so many levels to it. Number one, me being able to be a guest on podcasts with friends of mine who also happen to host podcasts. Things like that will become normal in your world if you start to place yourself around certain people that do the same things that you do. Even when it comes to stuff like staying hydrated. If you start hanging with the hydrated girlies, then guess what? You're going to be a hydrated girly. It's just that people are going to rub off on you. And it's so good to be able to be surrounded by a community that empowers you, that uplifts you. This is part of you getting to your next level. And you know what? Sometimes they're going to say something that you don't want to hear. I just was on a call with someone who I had to say something to her that she didn't want to hear. But guess what, baby? I hope that it mentally elevated her to take her to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Because that's always my intention when I'm in private conversations with people, when I do my private coaching, because you need to hear it and you need to lean on your tribe. You need to lean on your community to reel you back in, to pull you back into place, and to reset you to your goal. That's why, and you'll hear in this episode, I'm talking a little bit about manifestation and getting what you want out of life. You have to put your order in. What is your full order for your life? What is it that you want? And sometimes that comes with being able to take it when you need to see things in a different way. So I actually read this book by Amanda Frances. It's called Riches F. I'm not going to say that word just because I don't want to have to press that button on my podcast episode that says that I have explicit content. Not because I won't say the word. Okay, girl. But I don't want to have to hit that button for explicit content in my episode. But it's called Rich as F, More Money Than You Know What to Do With. And it's by Amanda Frances. And she really that book will slap you across the face and get you together. Okay. So one of the things that she tells you to say in there is, I am willing to see things differently. And I've been working on that myself in my own life and my mindset, girl, getting to my next level, okay? Because it's levels to this, and we all have our level, and we're all trying to get to the next one, right? So I've been practicing saying this and thinking this in my mind when it comes to certain things about my glow up game, my lifestyle, my health and wellness, and especially in my business. I'm willing to see things differently. And I love it. So run out and get you that Riches F book, because I'm telling you, it is transformative. As a matter of fact, I told the girlies that would be our next book club. So if you want to prepare for the next book club, then go ahead and get that book now, because I think that's the one that we're going to read. But I really want to get into this episode with the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. Their episode was called Unleashing Success. And I think that was a great title. So stay tuned, because here it goes. Definitely being too stubborn to fail during those moments is saying, okay, what do I need to do to tweak it? Mm-hmm. Why didn't the sales come in? Mm-hmm. Whose door can I go knock on for a sale? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do I have to do to get this? Because I'm going to get it. All right.
Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, where we tell stories about overcoming adversity. Today, we have a very special guest in the building. She's actually not a stranger to the show. This is her second time on the show. You're actually our first guest to do a repeat, so I'm excited about that. There's been a lot of things that transpire. You've had an incredible journey. You actually launched your own podcast, the Bliss Code, and an online platform, which is called the Bliss Code Academy. Yeah. So we're eager to get into that. So let's just dive into the conversation. So first of all, welcome back.
Thank you. Absolutely. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. So can you share with the listeners just how your journey has been, how your entrepreneurial journey has been since the last time you were on the show?
Wow. Since the last time I was on the show, it's taken a lot of twists and turns, because I believe the last time I was on the show, I was either still working my job or I had just left my job. I can't remember which one.
I think you were still there.
I was still working my job. Mm-hmm. So I left my job since then. Yes. Hallelujah. So happy to be doing my own thing. Absolutely. For real. But, once you leave an environment where you're told what to do, mm-hmm. where somebody else is your boss, and you become your own boss, or really, the customer is my boss, right? The clients are my boss. But still, I'm deciding what I do and how I do it every single day. Mm-hmm. Then you really your brain starts to move around and figuring out who you really are. So I've actually come into a new level of authenticity, where I wasn't able to be my full on self, mm-hmm. when I was working, right. Because I was always so self-conscious of somebody at work seeing me in a way that was unfavorable for work, mm-hmm. or that led on too much that I was about to be out that thing, that I was leaving. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
it's only so much of that you
can't
can
let them
hide.
on to me. Must make them think this is just a side gig.
That's funny. But the Bliss Code, it has a very nice ring to it.
Thank
What does the
you.
Bliss Code mean to you?
So the Bliss Code is actually a formula.
Okay.
It's a lifestyle formula.
Mhm.
And I'm really talking to women, you
Mhm.
know, because I'm a woman. And so I really understand the way that we think and the way that we behave
Mhm.
and the things that will help us come to a new space in life and to level up. So the formula is my signature methodology showing women
Mhm.
how to come into a new self.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of time what people are doing. They're trying to reinvent themselves. They're trying to rebrand themselves, whether they have a business or not.
Right.
They are wanting to come into a new form of self and experience a different lifestyle. So it's a formula that I came up with that actually gives you the particular steps on how to become somebody completely different. I call it embracing your main character energy, you know, because you're like in this story where you are literally recreating who you are. And I've done all of these things on myself. And I just want to be able to share it with other people. I really do. And it's fun for me I love to learn. So it's fun for me to go back and say, okay, girl, this is what I found out, you know?
I love that. I love that. It sounds like an awful lot of growth since the last time,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to like dig into it a little bit more. Um, but from specifically the podcast, what how do we get there? What makes you want to get your voice out there and commit to this beast of a thing called podcasting?
You know what? Okay, so the thing is, for me, it's a space to express myself without having to put on makeup.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm keeping it all the way
It's funny
real.
that you would say that because we just watched a movie last night called Underdogs, which is with Snoop Dogg in it. Snoop Dogg and Mike Epps. He actually has a podcast on there. And when I tell you the freedom that he has, he's recording from his bedroom.
Okay.
He's recording while he's driving.
Yes.
And bathtub, just whatever.
Yes, because the thoughts don't come when you are set up to record.
Nope.
They just come sporadically, randomly, and you're like, oh, I gotta capture this. So, yeah, I mean, that's one thing I love about podcasting. And you know, some people have even asked me to do like video podcasts, live podcasts. I'm like, okay, but only sometimes, you know.
Right.
But funny story, when I was a little girl, like I remember being a teenager and remember, I don't know if you remember, okay, the boom boxes, they used to be able to, can put a tape in your tape deck and actually hit record and record your own voice. So I had a radio show that nobody listened to that I created, okay? So this was the first version of my podcast at like 14 years old. And I would let the song play from the radio. I would record the song and then dip in and record me saying something as well. So I've been doing this since I was a teenager, like 30 years ago.
More or less, yep.
And then when I went to school, when I went to college, I got my degree in public speaking. So this is really my lane. And it's just another opportunity for me to reach people wherever they are. And I love to listen to podcasts, so why not?
Hey, no, there is no better version than your own, right?
Right.
So when we talk about the Bliss Code podcast, what can the listeners expect? What would you say is your target audience?
My target audience is women like me. And you know what? That even gives me a lot of freedom saying women like me, because as I grow, my audience grows as well, you know? So my target likes the things that I like. So you can expect to hear me talking about, I'm a personal development junkie, okay? So you can expect me to be talking about the books that I've read, ways to manifest certain things into your life, And not only that, but how to make it really simple and really practical. So I come at them like, hey, I'm just your girlfriend, girl, let's have a conversation, like I would if I was talking to somebody on the phone. Because I know that personal development can really feel overwhelming for a lot of people. And especially when you see the kind of things that I'm doing, because I'm like, well, this is my life. I eat this, I breathe this.
Right.
So it's like, well, yeah, Jamie, that's good for Jamie to do. But sometimes people don't see it in their head that they can do it too. And I'm the kind of person that looks at somebody else, some other woman says, hold on, she can do it. She's a single mother. She's in her 40s. Wait a minute, I can do this too. So I want to let them hear me being the real me, and as unpolished as I can be, and not sound like I just rolled out of bed. But give them the opportunity to talk to me as if I really was their friend, chatting with them on the phone. Like, girl, guess what I discovered?
That authenticity is, I think, something that people have shown a need to want to hear or listen to now, as opposed to before. I think a lot of us got caught up in seeing things on the screen and just thinking that everything is perfect. But in reality, everybody's going through something.
Yes.
Yeah, they may not show it, but that doesn't mean that they're not going through it. But being able to be comfortable within your own skin and talk about things that you're going through, things that you think about on a day-to-day basis, and let the listener know that I'm just like you.
Exactly.
I think that's the draw for podcasting.
Yeah.
It makes people seem more human.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we want to talk to. Other humans. And find ourselves in the other person that we're listening to. Yeah.
So how many episodes have you recorded so far?
I think I'm at 16. Episode number 16 just dropped today. That's actually huge. Yes. So I'm in season 2 right now. So this
congratulations.
Thank you.
No, we have to celebrate that, because I don't know if you noticed or not, but most people don't make it to episode 6.
I've heard some good stats that are making me feel really good. I'm pushing for episode 21. Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't heard that one.
I don't know the numbers, but it's basically like the numbers get smaller as you go up. As you go up,
of course, yeah.
And as you're into your 21st episode, I think you're like in the top 1% automatically, because people don't make it that long.
They don't.
So, baby, what number are you on?
I haven't hit 50 yet. So I'm like 40 something.
So that's perfect, because it's like the more you have in the bank, the better. There's that moment when the person discovers you, they want to binge it.
Right.
So when you have all that there and they can binge it, it just spirals from there. Yeah.
And the thing that I like about having repeat guests is they can start to pay attention to your journey as well, and compare the first time you on here to the second time, and then who knows what you're going to be up to the next time you come on. We'll be talking about something completely different. Much bigger.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you said yes. That means that you had a good time the first time.
Yeah.
I never want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I want the space to be a space where you can open up.
Yeah.
And then we don't talk about anything too crazy on here.
Well, I love this space because I feel like I'm amongst friends, amongst family, and this is what I wanted for my business. When I was thinking, like, what do I want for my life? What do I want for my business? I just want to feel like I'm doing my regular life every day. And so if I get a chance to sit here and sit across from a friend and have a conversation that I probably would have anyway, but yet this is our work.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I can get with this.
the best of both worlds.
Yes.
So if you could pick one episode to a brand new listener, and tell them that this is the first one that they should listen to from the Bliss Code, what would that episode be?
You know what? To date, for the Bliss Code podcast, my most popular episode has been I think it's called Awakening the Main Character Within,
Okay.
which was actually my very first episode.
Really?
And people tend to really gravitate toward that term main character energy because it flicks the light bulb on for them. Like, oh, I get what she's wanting me to do. That's leveling up in another way. You know, people talking about the level up, the glow up, you know, reaching new heights in your life. There's so many ways to say the same thing, right? But that puts a little pizzazz on it.
It does.
Main character energy. Oh my, what's that?
I like it.
I want to be the main character. So I believe that's one of the reasons why that is one of my most popular episodes. So I would say go listen to that.
Number one. Hey, and
yeah, the analytics
it's in
tell
order.
you what the
It's
people want
in
to
order.
hear.
So once you listen to that one, might as well turn on two.
You might as well binge it, you know?
Might as well. That energy is interesting because I was actually thinking about, you know, people in general. We see, just to go along with the thing what we were talking about earlier, we see things on a big screen. We may put people on pedestals. We may even think that we want these things, but in reality, you may not even want $1 million.
Oh my gosh.
You may be comfortable making $6,000 a month. You may be comfortable making $2,000 a month. That has to be defined by the person. And I also think that it's important for everybody to kind of determine that for themselves as opposed to measuring yourself with someone else. I think a lot of times we get caught up in that.
I love that you said that. I mean, nowadays we have so many people to measure ourselves by because we're just a global community now.
Right.
We just are, you know, with social media and everything. We just can see that what everybody is doing in every corner of the world. Where, you know, back in our parents' days, they were only comparing themselves to the people right in their neighborhood. So it was a lot easier. But, you know, in my podcast and, you know, in my academy and just in regular life, I talk a lot about manifestation because I love the woo-woo magic spirituality of it all. And, you know, bringing something into existence, basically being more intentional.
Right.
And I like that you said that because people need to focus on the life that they're looking for, the feeling that they want to have, and the experiences that they want to have. And a lot of times the reason why they don't get the money that they're looking for is because they're just wanting the money. But you haven't put in your full order.
Right.
You know, the way it works is when you're asking for something, when you're manifesting something, when you're praying for something, you got to put your order in completely. It's like, well, what do you want the money for? Where do you want to go?
Right.
Where do you see yourself? Who is it that you want to be? So define these experiences a little bit more deeply, and you may realize that some of those experiences don't cost as much as you think they do, like you're saying. So define yourself by how it is that you want your regular Wednesday to look. Not necessarily when you're on vacation, but how do you want your everyday life to look? And it's helped me to really embrace a new word, which is contentment. Just being like how I'm sitting here right now, I'm so content. I'm feeling relaxed. I'm hydrated. Y'all saw me drinking my water. You know, I'm feeling so relaxed and so free right now, right here in this moment. I'm content. And I think a lot of people need to start searching for contentment instead of a life full of wow. Every moment is not wow. And it won't be wow if everything is wow, right? So search for contentment with a few pops of wow, you know?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's nothing wrong with having aspirations, but we also have to keep them realistic in a sense. And I think, just like you said, suppose you get that thing that you were chasing, and it was empty calories. It didn't taste as good as you wanted it to. Then what?
Empty calories.
Like, what do you go from there? So it's important to be content. Find what makes you happy and just continue to do that.
Yes.
As long as you're not hurting anybody or yourself, continue to do that.
fall in love with the process of living.
Right.
You know, talking about being content and being grateful for what you have. That's what a lot of people are searching for. That's that mindfulness that people talk about. It's living in the moment,
right,
living in the right now. And actually that helps you get more and propel forward, because if you don't even notice what's good right now, and not saying be content in the way that it's like you don't have aspirations,
right.
Of course not. But notice what you've already worked on and received. Did you notice that? It's like, hello, don't forget about me, which you've already manifested. And when you start to take a look at that, and that's actually how the brain works, believe it or not. Your brain is in charge of pattern recognition. It's looking for, how can I find the same thing over and over again? For comfort. That's what it's searching for. So that's why when you buy that new car, okay, everybody else now has that car, because your brain has locked in on that. So lock in the current contentment of your life. Lock in on what you see that you've got, that you love right now, and your brain will show you more. It has to. That's how it works.
I totally agree.
Yes.
So
don't let me get the preaching in
hey,
here. That's
what
like,
we're here for.
I'll put something on your brain.
That's
now.
what we're here for. We'll get some good content out of this. And I always love to have guests like yourself, and to just have, we can kind of go into deep conversations within a conversation, if you will. So there will be things that it's easy. You make it easy to podcast, especially, you always want to have a fellow content creator on, just because how this thing goes already.
Yes.
And there's no coaching involved.
Yeah. Yes.
So I love that.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I love speaking.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I'm surprised that it took you so long to start a podcast.
You know what? I was such a people pleaser. Such a workaholic. I think perhaps, and my son is 18 now, so I'm really blessed that, that I've been able to do that, and to bring him to the amazing place that he is now. But sometimes when you get in a mental lane, you are so fearful of doing the things that you're meant to do, because you're afraid of losing the things that you need for life. And so I prioritized my job and what I thought to be that particular identity. And I've monitored, what people would perceive of me, because frankly, I didn't want to lose my job.
That's
and
important.
I'm like, this is my bread and butter. How do I need to behave, or how did I think I needed to behave? Because I've learned a lot more now since then, especially in the authenticity lane. How did I think I needed to behave in order to keep afloat, don't rock the boat, and make sure that I still have that job so that I can put food on the table, pay my mortgage for me and my son? So I was in that survival mode mindset that held me back from my greatest self, because I was afraid, because some of the things that I have to say are not job friendly. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to let them on to what I was doing. I mean, I've even had job interviews where they frowned upon you having something outside of the job. They literally ask you in the interview or on the paperwork that you're filling out, do you have any jobs outside of this? Because we are looking for someone who is completely dedicated to this position. They wanted your work to be your life.
Wow.
And, when you're the only one that's providing, that put me in a mindset of being afraid to be who I really needed to be, because I was afraid of having the rug ripped from under me and having to struggle.
That's a valid fear. And I know that's most people's problem.
Yeah.
We're in a position where we have this comfort over here of knowing that we know how our bills are going to be paid.
Yes.
But it's also killing our dreams in a sense. And we have to find that balance of when is enough enough. How many years are you going to give to a thing before it has taken everything?
This is why I love Gen Z. Okay, Gen Z
Oh,
is
they don't
rocking the
care.
boat. They're like, listen, this is not my life. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. Click.
Gone.
That laptop is shutting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
They're not like us. They're not like millennials. Or,
No,
you know.
they stay on the job 1 to 2 years.
I honor them for that
Mhm.
because they're showing me, they're giving me the power by saying, if they can do it, I can do it.
Mhm.
If I don't have to be stuck to the job. Hey, I honor jobs. I honor work.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
every
We
position
need
is
it.
valuable.
We
We
need it.
need it. We
Mhm.
need all roles
Mhm.
in life. But can we love ourselves too? Can
Mhm.
we, can we put ourselves in first position?
Right. That's it's so many ways we can go with that because
Rabbit hole.
because on one hand it's like, yes, jobs are needed,
Yeah.
and you may not be happy at a certain job. Doesn't mean that entrepreneurship is for you though.
Oh yeah.
Those are two
Yeah.
different. Those are two different
Because
things.
if you thought the one job was something,
Right.
try the 17 jobs that come with being an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurship is much harder than a general 9 to 5. But if you find your lane, and do what you love, things are easier. You're more willing to lose sleep over that thing. You're more willing to sacrifice more for that thing.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to happiness at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's more important than any paycheck that you can ever have.
Yeah.
Is what makes you happy. Jamie, I'm enjoying this conversation so much. We actually gonna take a short break, but when we get back, I got something special. So we've actually added a segment that I've never done before, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit more when we come back from a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, where we tell stories about overcoming adversity. Today, we have the lovely Jamie Drew in the building. Jamie, we have, as I told, I kind of introduced it before we left for break. So I got a segment. So the segment is called This or That.
Okay.
The rules are simple. I will give you 2 words, and you just basically choose which word resonates with you and kind of just give a brief synopsis of why you picked one over the other.
Okay.
And the interesting part is I tied in the words to kind of theme around the Bliss Code.
Okay.
So let's see how this goes.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see.
All right. So the first round would be mindfulness or meditation.
Mindfulness, for
Okay.
sure, 100%. Meditation is something you do to try to gain mindfulness. So meditation, a lot of times you want to sit silently and close your eyes, because you close your eyes to remove the stimulation. Because our eyes, I'm catching everything that I'm not even thinking about. Oh, that plug over there, that light switch over there. My brain is picking up on all of it, right? But there's so many different ways to gain mindfulness. So definitely mindful. You can even have mindfulness while you're cooking. A lot of us, we cook while we're talking on the phone or while we're watching a TV show. We got to be stimulated in multiple ways. You can find mindfulness just cooking, not watching anything, not listening to anything, not being on the phone, and just listening to yourself chop things and the sizzling. That's being right there, having your attention focused in that moment, and just letting your thoughts flow by like a river.
You know what that place is for me? The car.
Yes.
I love some music and I love listening to audiobooks and podcasts, but there are certain times where I can just sit in complete silence and enjoy my ride home. I don't have to call anybody. I don't have to worry about anything. Sometimes I can get a little lost, and I look up and I'm at home, and I get a little concerned
You went
about
on
that.
autopilot.
Yeah, I went on autopilot, but that would be my place of my where I get my most mindfulness is in the car. Probably to work more than from work because I have a toddler that rides with me, and she controls any space she's in. But yeah, I would
She's
say
a diva.
absolutely a diva in training. So I would say that would be my most that would be the place where I find the most mindfulness.
I'm not surprised to hear that. For a lot of people, it's the car or the shower.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, those are really the only moments, especially the shower, when you're completely by yourself. You know, you got family, you got spouse, you got, you're always with somebody.
Yep. That's interesting. All right. So for round 2, we have serenity or excitement.
Serenity or excitement. Wow. How you going to do me like that? That's two extremes. I need a little sprinkle of both of them. You know what? Okay. But I guess if I had to choose one, I would say serenity. I give a lot of my energy to other people, and I really need my alone time. I really have to recharge. I really have to have those silent moments where I'm not giving energy to anyone but myself, where I'm going within, painting, or sipping on some tea, just relaxing, doing what I do. I gotta have those hermit moments. That's a big part of my recharge.
I second that.
Yeah,
you gotta have some alone time.
Oh yeah.
So for our next one, we have growth or contentment.
Oh, see, I just talked about contentment. You did this on purpose. Wow.
I know my guess.
Well, I say contentment. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with my word, because when you, like I was saying earlier, when you pay attention to what you are content with, there's growth within that. You're going to get the growth anyway. So, see how I did that? You get the best of both worlds. So, yes, contentment leads to the best kind of growth.
I agree. So, this next one is going to be interesting. Reflection or action?
Reflection or action? Reflection. Reflection, for sure. Go within. Know thyself. Understand yourself. Become confident with who you actually are as a person. And let that reverberate outward. Reflection is the key to really to everything. And going even further in life. A lot of times people are taking action and they're dog paddling. They're getting nowhere fast. They're creating all this action, but it's not actually taking them anywhere. They're acting out of fear. Like, if I don't do this action, I'm not gonna get this thing. Where if you sat in a moment of reflection and moved from within, you're gonna get those things anyway with a lot less effort.
I was kind of torn on that one. I think on the surface, I will go toward action because at some point, I just wanna do it. I want to get that thing done and then reflect on it. But I definitely can understand reflection first over that.
Absolutely.
I thought that was going to be an interesting one. So,
and I'm a big fan of putting things on autopilot. So it could be my phase in life. You know what I mean? I'm in this phase where you do it.
Reflection. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to vacuum. I let the robot vacuum do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going back in the days where we used to hand wash our clothes. I got to let the wash machine do it.
I'm definitely in that phase.
I'm setting up automations in the background of my business. You know what I'm saying? So the action for me, the upfront action, so you can relax afterwards.
Listen, I just had somebody come put a sink in for me. That's fine. So,
like, you do this.
Yeah,
I could do this.
That's more of my personality, to be fair. is
Mm-hmm.
to allow others to do those things. My wife is more of the DIYer.
Yeah, she is Miss Creative.
So that fits along with me.
Yeah.
So I got one more round for you.
Okay.
This one is connection or solitude.
Connection.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
After I recharge, I have to go back out.
Mm-hmm.
We're nothing without our connections.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say to myself forever, I need other people. I need their energy. I need their love. You know, they say we're supposed to get like 7 or 8 hugs a day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need other people. We can't do. That's why I get so confused when these people talk about self-made millionaire, self-made billionaire. How?
Yeah, it's no such thing.
How did you do anything without someone else?
Right.
You can't. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want to live this life alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, absolutely connection. I need my people.
Hey, it's something to. I think we felt that most during the pandemic because we couldn't be around the people that we didn't necessarily live with but were close to us. So yeah, connection. I agree with that one. Connection is more important.
And we found it any way that we could. We went online. We were like, must find connection.
And that's how we ended up with platforms and a whole new lane, a whole new audience of people who seeking us out.
Right.
I love that. So that was the end of This or That. Cool. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we did. Had no idea how it was going to go, but it worked out really well. I think we're going to keep that one around.
That was fun. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Bliss Code Academy. I love that. It sounds intriguing. So can you tell us a little bit about the platform and what's your mission with that platform?
So the Academy is a self-mastery program for women. And it's a space for us to do all those things that we've been wanting to do forever together. So it's a place for accountability because, like you said, that connection, that community that a lot of women are searching for, they need someone to be able to do it with. They need a buddy. They need a bestie to be able to do it with. And within the community is a whole group of people that you can elevate with. So it's a really holistic program where I go through this formula, the Bliss Code, where I talk about what's required to actually change your life. You know, things like self-observation, things like checking your energy, things like actually getting the look, capturing the persona from the outside in of what this person is supposed to look like, and us actually embodying that lifestyle. So it's us living the lifestyle together. Yeah.
I like that. So what inspired you to start this community?
I knew I wanted to do my own thing as far as being a business owner. I wanted to do things that excited me so I never felt like I was at work. I'm that way for everything.
Right.
Like even with working out, stuff like that. Okay, I want to go to the park and hike. I want to dance or something like that. I don't want to feel like I'm working out. So when I decided to build this academy, I was like, what is something that's going to make me feel like I'm just living my life? Okay, let me sell my knowledge. Let me sell the strides that I've made that I know that other people are looking for as well. Let me pull somebody else up with me and we're, you know, iron sharpening iron, and what do they say? A rising tide lifts all boats, right? So I'm like, that's what I want to do. And I've been coaching people, mentoring people almost all my life. It's something that I started doing even when I was in college. You know, I was in a mentoring program, and I've always been, even in my own biological family, I'm the big sister, I'm the eldest. So I've always been this way. And this is just a way for me to live my life, showing other people a more optimal way to live their life.
I like that. So has there been anything that you've experienced within the academy or from, you know, people giving feedback that you didn't expect?
That that I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You know what I didn't expect?
What's that?
I didn't expect for people to be wanting to connect with me so much and absorb it firsthand from me. I guess that was the plan all along, because I'm coaching people. I do one-on-one private coaching, and then this is, the academy is sort of group coaching with community as well, But I guess that's the confidence piece that I was working on, not knowing that people were going to want to connect with me, sending me messages to pick my brain or connect with me on events or have me teach them something, asking me for certain things that I didn't even know that they were paying attention to. So it's like, as a business owner, right? You're putting out a certain thing. Hey, this is what I know you need.
Right.
This is what I think you need. But you don't expect some of that feedback that comes back, that they're noticing something that you hadn't paid attention to, that they're actually wanting from you. You're like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. And the second thing I didn't expect was how deep I would have to go with teaching these things that I know. Because when you get into a certain lane, when you become an expert at something, you start to get this mental bias where you feel like everybody knows just about as much as you know. And you start using your own jargon, your own terms, like people know what you're talking about. Like, say, okay, you've been doing podcasting. If I say, do you have a boom? You know exactly what a boom is, right? Because you do podcasting.
Right.
Whereas somebody else that's like, what is a boom? Like, what are you talking about? I know that's a sound effect, right? So I had to learn to make sure that I wasn't over talking my people, that they understood me, that I used terms that they can relate to, that I can eventually help them to understand the terms that I'm using. But I have to be mindful and aware of who I'm speaking to and that they're not experts. I'm not, you know how you can have train the trainer? Or if you're a professor and you're presenting amongst your peers, or you're a doctor and you're presenting amongst your peers, you're not going to use the same language that you would with your patients. If you're doing a doctors only conference, you're not going to have the same language with your patients. So that's another thing that I had to learn as well.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. And you're right. It's certain things that you probably don't realize that people know, or rather don't know. And you just end up having to break that thing on down to its simplest form.
Because I was way up top with it. And I'm like, okay, let me break this thing all the way down. But it's good though, because it gives me an opportunity to touch every area, to dig more, to produce more, to have more to say, And the crazy thing, you know where I learned that from? I learned that from trying to play baseball with my boyfriend. He was trying to teach me how to pitch, right? And he's been doing this since he was 5 years old. He was a collegiate athlete, okay? He's trying to teach me how to pitch. And I'm like, he's like, all you have to do is, I'm like, where do I put my foot?
It's not all you have to do.
He's like, follow through with your leg. I'm like, what do you mean? What does that mean? I don't know how to play baseball.
Right.
And it was in that moment that I noticed, oh, okay, I'm the 5-year-old where he was when he first started. He's got to talk to me like that, not somebody that, I'm not even an athlete. So you've got to go even further down with me. You can't even talk to me like a beginning athlete, because I just don't do it. And that is crazy, but that made me think about my own business. Like, oh, wow, okay. Sometimes you can get too high level with it.
I can see that.
I need to simplify my terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing when you do that, not only do you learn different ways to present it, but you often it helps you, one, retain the information, and two, you might learn something new.
Yeah.
Just from breaking it down to its simplest terms. Well, maybe I missed it, or maybe I've never seen it from this side.
Exactly.
So now that I see it from this side, there's some more things that I can add to the lesson.
Exactly. I'm learning from them.
Right.
So it's unexpected as well. I expected to be the teacher.
Right.
And I'm learning.
There you go.
From
There
my
you go.
academy members.
You gotta get those 10,000 hours however you need to.
Yes.
Absolutely. So for those who may be aspiring to start their own podcast or even maybe their own platform, did you have any advice or tips that you could kind of lead them toward based on your experiences?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's start with the podcast. Or is it
even
the same?
This is across the board, baby. Keep it simple, and then diversify within the simplicity of the thing. You know, we get so many ideas as creative people. We can be all over the place. Yep. So many ideas. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You end up fast forwarding yourself. Start with one thing and explore every avenue within that one thing. I bit off a lot with creating an entire academy that can shape somebody's life. Right. There's so many aspects to that. Mind, body, spirit, your network. There's so many aspects to that. And that kind of route of doing things is not for the faint of heart. No. And if you're not strong, you will quit that very quickly. In order to keep pressing on and to get where you want to be, choose that one thing. So let's say you said start with the podcast. What is the one topic? And then there's so many areas to dig in with that one thing. Just like you have your theme, too stubborn to fail. Period. It's one thing. There's so many avenues to expand within that one thing. And that's exactly what you need to do is have that one singular focus when you're first starting out and expand after you've exhausted every area of that.
I like that.
Yes. So it's the same thing if you're going into a coaching business, if you're going into a retail business, especially if you're going into a retail business. Start with one product, just one, and explore every avenue of that. Create your content, put that product in every scene that it could possibly go in for your content before you move along to that next thing. Because your audience really needs to see the thing over and over and over again. You think, well, I already talked about that. Well, I already showed that. They want to see it again and again and again. So it may seem tedious and repetitive to you, but not to your audience. Right. So that's my main advice.
I like that.
If you start there, don't even think about any other advice right now.
Because if you do, you may not even get started.
Yeah. You could be overwhelmed with all of the things within it, you know? So that's one advice. I've got another piece. Okay. Show everything. Everything that you think is cringy, everything that you're like, oh, but that's not polished. I don't care. Show it. Show it. They want to see it. They want to see behind the scenes. They want to see you mess up. They want to see your growth. I have somebody that is in the academy and did some private coaching with her as well. And she's in the fitness space and she's currently rehabbing herself and wasn't where she wanted to be weight-wise and wanted to wait until she's perfect before she shows up to her audience, before she shows up on camera. I said, girl, no. That's content. Use that now. They want to see your growth. They want to see where you came from. And that even legitimizes you. Yes. So it's authentic because you're not perfect. It legitimizes you because they've seen you be your own first client, you know, and now you've got all this B-roll, all this look where I came from, because your audience is the person that's starting from that space that you think is too cringy to show. Let them see that.
I know, like, when I see advertisements for
Yeah.
I want to see the shapewear on somebody who has a fupa.
Yes, baby. Yes.
Show me the shapewear on the skinny girl.
Exactly.
I want to know, like, is it going to do what I need to do for me?
Exactly. Is it going to strap me in and pull this belly in that I have? Let me see somebody with a belly.
Yeah, I think
that's one thing. You know what? That's one thing I love about Fenty, like Rihanna's line. I shop with her stuff a lot. She shows all women of all shapes and sizes on there. I'm like, okay, how is my gut gonna be looking in this? Okay, she has a gut. That looks cute. Okay, I'm gonna get that. The gut girl.
I think we want to often show up as a finished product. And that can be across the board, but I think it's important for us to realize that you're never going to be the finished product.
Never.
So just do it.
I love that. People need to hear that on repeat. You're never gonna be finished, and if you are, you're dead. So do you? I mean, like, is that what is that where
really
you going?
What you want?
Like, no, enjoy this ride, okay? Don't worry about getting finished just yet.
I love that. I think we've pretty much talked about everything that we wanted to talk about today.
Okay.
We got one more break coming up. I'd love to get your thoughts on so I already asked you the question, what comes to mind when you hear the words too stubborn to fail, but I'd like you've experienced a significant amount of growth since the last time, and I feel like your answer may be different now.
Yeah.
So when we come back from the break, we'll have that too stubborn to fail moment.
Okay.
Right. All right. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, where we tell stories about overcoming adversity. Today we have the lovely Jamie Drew in the building. It's been an amazing conversation so far. What I always like to ask my guests is, what comes to mind when you hear the words too stubborn to fail? So what comes to mind for you?
Resilience. Relentlessness, and by any means necessary. Those are the terms that come to mind. Because if you're too stubborn to fail, you like, oh, I'm gonna get it. However it needs to be gotten, I'm gonna get it. You know, having that confidence and that knowing that you have the ability to get it, and you going hard with it. Relentless. That's the one word, if I had to choose one word.
I love that. I love that. With that being said, what would be, so, you know, when I think about too stubborn to fail in the terms of this show, it's always about overcoming adversity of some sort. What would be your too stubborn to fail moment? Now, I know you gave one previously, but I'm just interested to see if it changed at all.
What would be a too stubborn to fail moment? I guess probably the first, because my business has had ebbs and flows, right? And you may launch a product or, you know, launch a certain thing to crickets. So I've had that happen before, where you put something out and you're like, where's all the sales? Right. Where y'all at? And they're not coming in. And definitely being too stubborn to fail during those moments is saying, okay, what do I need to do to tweak it? Why didn't the sales come in? Whose door can I go knock on for a sale? What do I have to do to get this? Because I'm going to get it. And then asking for that feedback of what made you buy this. Or the hardest one, asking the person that didn't buy it, why didn't you buy it? Okay? Being a business owner can rock your ego, baby.
Absolutely.
Rock that ego. So, yeah. Launching the crickets. That's a too stubborn to fail moment right there.
Yes.
Like, okay, you know what? Nobody bought into this thing that I was selling, but I'm going to keep selling it anyway. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you do have to be stubborn in those moments. This has been an amazing conversation. I feel like we could talk for hours on this. So before we get out of here, I want you to let everybody know how they can find you.
Yes.
If they are interested in the Bliss Code Academy, how they can get involved with that, and just the floor is yours.
Okay, you can find everything about the Bliss Code and the Bliss Code Academy at theblisscode.net and theblisscodeacademy.com. I snagged both domains, okay? So that will lead you to our social media. We're on TikTok at the Bliss Code. We're on Instagram as at the Bliss Code. Just type in Google Bliss Code Academy and you will find us, okay? You can find the Academy there. You can find the podcast on our website, the Bliss Code Podcast. Wherever you happen to listen to your podcast, it's there.
Yes. There you have it. Go ahead and find her, the Bliss Code. Even if you just type it into Google, that'll take you everywhere you need to go.
That's right.
Jamie, thank you for joining us again. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It's been inspiring, I would say. It's always good to see someone's growth. Even if it wasn't all that long ago, just to see the growth from then to now is definitely truly inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for agreeing to come on again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah, me too.
So this has been another episode of the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. Today we had Jamie Drew in the building. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you comment, and subscribe to the channel. And we are tuning out.
This has been another episode of the Bliss Code Podcast. Membership in our academy is open and rolling. Check us out at theblisscodeacademy.com. Be sure to share this episode with your bestie so she can get the goods too. There's no use in you leveling up by yourself. Turn on your notifications so you won't miss out on not one episode of the Bliss Code Podcast. Thank you so much to all of our listeners. Thank you to the Bliss Code Academy members. And thank you to everyone who shopped in our Bliss Code shop at theblisscode.net. If you've been itching to dive into a particular topic around mindset, personal development, manifestation, and main character energy, send us an email at support@theblisscode.net and tell us what you want to talk about. And if you're another creative that is itching to get on our podcast, hit us up on social media, or you can email us at support@theblisscode.net. We'd love to have you for a great girl chat.